This could be big. This could be huge. This could be everything Manchester United fans have been asking Ineos to act on. News coming out from Florian Plettenberg that Marcus Rashford is up for sale and could be sold by Manchester United as soon as next month when the January transfer window opens. This is Forever United TV. This is an extra live show, everybody. Welcome along. Please do get your comments in the live section on this news. We're going to get thoughts on this because we talked this morning about everything that Ineos were doing that was upsetting Manchester United fans. Levelling that up with what they've done to staff and the smaller people like the fans and the people working at Manchester United, but nobody's saying anything or touching the players. Well, this would be the biggest and most significant movement from Ineos if they were to make it happen and Marcus Rashford was sold just to balance books and level everything up from what we needed to do in the transfer window. It would be absolutely monumental. Get your comments in right now. We're talking about Marcus Rashford and the news that has broken from Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg. We're going to go through the quotes, get your thoughts on this now, that Marcus Rashford is up for sale and could be leaving Manchester United in January if the opportunity came around. Now, obviously, that opportunity has to come around, and January window is always difficult to sell players. We know this, and it's not going to be an easy ask for Manchester United to make this happen. And Marcus Rashford could all of a sudden go, oh my God, my career is ending at Manchester United. I need to actually do something right now. And you know what? He's got quite a few games to play before this January transfer window opens to actually prove to the manager, the coaches, the hierarchy, Ineos, and more importantly, the Manchester United fans, that he wants to be a Manchester United player. So where this video is talking about Marcus Rashford's possibly being sold, I think it's more important to look at this video as Marcus Rashford's career, his whole time, the Manchester lad, the Wivenshaw kid, Mr. Manchester United. Has he still got it in him to be a Manchester United player? The time is ticking, Marcus. Now is the time to really put in the work and start acting like a United player and maybe salvage your career. This is the moment right now, because these stories and these rumours that do start to fly around don't fly around for no reason. And beforehand, where we might have thought, it's a pipe dream, Marcus Rashford's never going to be sold by Manchester United. Well, I think what is significant in it all is what we've been talking about over the last week, which is what's happening at Manchester United with Ineos, what they're doing, and how they're going to balance the books. They're sacking big-name people at the football club. It doesn't matter who you are, what stature you've got, what history you've got with this football club. If the club are willing to sack someone that they looked at for 10 months, put on gardening leave, put everything, all of their efforts into basing their whole restructure and reforming Manchester United around, and are willing to bring him in and sack him within 5 months, take away 2 million of an ambassadorial role to Sir Alex Ferguson, that Marcus Rashford is small fry to Ineos. This is what's important to remember when we're talking about this situation right now, and I think this is where we need to go with it first of all. But still, let's get into where this has all come from and where these stories have come about, and it is pretty much everywhere right now in terms of Marcus Rashford, what Florian Plettenberg has said. First of all, let's get into what has been said. I'll just read out his full tweet because it is quite in-depth actually. Manchester United will sell Marcus Rashford at the latest by the summer and would already be open to top offers in the winter, as in next month, January transfer window. The club acknowledged his development under Ruben Amorim, but consider him definitely not unsellable. One reason why the sale is being discussed, if he were to leave the club due to his high salary, it would free up critical points in the complicated financial fair play system, which in turn would give the Red Devils more room to manoeuvre in the transfer market. 27-year-old is contracted until 2028. We all know Marcus Rashford's contract. We all know the amount of money that Marcus Rashford is on. It is significant to say the least. And right now, United and what they are doing, they are trying to find ways that they can actually get out of the hole that they're in, that they've dug themselves in. Now, they're doing a lot of repair work in Ineos for mistakes that the previous regime has made. They're making mistakes themselves, like we've documented and talked about over the last week. Very clear for everyone to see what the problem is with Ineos right now. But one thing that they can do to counter that is make a significant change in the playing staff. The players are the only ones, like we said this morning, that are getting away with this. And Marcus Rashford would be the biggest name and the most significant sale from this football club over the last 20 years. 20 years, 2 decades, this would be the most significant sale, because this hinges on Manchester United's future. This hinges on Manchester United moving forward. I'm not going in on Marcus Rashford on this at all. I'm just looking at everything that's around this deal and what it would mean and what it would do to Manchester United. It would end the Player Power FC, the lad that's come through the ranks, the player that's been here through his old time, the Manchester lad, the one who has the most experience in the club right now, who's on the biggest wage, probably worth more commercially than any other player to the football club right now. If you wanted to prove to the fans that you were going in the right direction, this would be a massive move for Ineos, and I feel it would be the biggest that they have made so far. And that's saying something, because there has been some big ones by Ineos. It would just say to everybody else in this squad, oh my God, this is it. This is the end. Unless, and I'm putting Marcus Rashford in this as well, unless you want to get to grip with what you are doing, with where you are at as a player, with the performances that you're putting in, be the leader of Manchester United. Whether you think Marcus Rashford's harshly treated to or not, that falls into insignificance of what's going on. Ineos are brutal. Let's look at it from their side. They need revenue. They need money to balance financial fair play. Rashford is 100% profit, and he's on absolute Brewsters a year. He is costing the club a fortune. Manchester United's savings alone in this deal on wages would be astronomical. They really would. In fact, we will get Marcus Rashford's wages up just to actually balance this out and figure out how much Ineos are actually going to save if they got rid of Marcus Rashford, say, this summer or in January. I think it's important to understand the actual numbers of what Marcus Rashford is actually earning a year at Manchester United right now, because it's eye-watering. When you break it down on an annual thing, what Marcus Rashford we could get in a transfer fee, it falls into complete insignificance to what he gets in a year. It is astronomical. Right, Marcus Rashford right now he's on at this payroll, so he's on £15.5 million. $15.5 million it says there. It's in dollars on this website anyway. That's what he's on. The actual length of his contract equates to $78 million. I don't know why this website's in bleeding dollars. It's stupid. But yeah, that is Marcus Rashford. So basically, breaking it down, what are you on there? Marcus Rashford's earning around £14 million a year. That's what he's saving Manchester United if he's sold. So Ineos will look at that. 40 million a year, that definitely balances books on its own. If you brought in 40 or 50 million for him, that's 100% profit for Manchester United in financial fair play, and goes an awful long way to balancing books and giving us an opportunity in coming transfer windows as well. I think that's the important thing to take into consideration here. But Marcus Rashford right now, like I just said, whether you like him or not, whether you think he's been harshly treated to or not, the bigger picture is Ineos' look on Manchester United. Can Marcus Rashford turn this around? He's got a month to save himself. That's how I see it. Moves will be made. I can't see United telling him in January. I really can't. I'm just going to be honest with that. I think he's more chance of him going in the summer, which we've all talked about anyway. But what we have to look at here is the fact that it's been talked about, the fact that this is coming out from Florian Plettenberg. More and more noises are coming out about nobody being safe at Manchester United. It had to start catching up with the players at some point. And now it does look like we are finally getting to that point. And Marcus Rashford is obviously top target for anybody who is thinking that this club is overpaying for one particular player. He's the one that everybody talks about all of the time for one reason or another. But again, I'll make the point clear. Like right now, the whole point of this video is, what are you going to do, Marcus? What are you going to do? You're not safe. Nobody's safe at Manchester United. Every player is playing for his place in this team. Whether you like Bruno Fernandes or not, nobody ever brought Bruno Fernandes off with 20 minutes to go when we were losing a game. Nobody was brave enough. Ruben Amorim is, and he has done it. He's done it twice, pretty much, bringing Bruno Fernandes off before the end of the game. Bruno's game time, whether you think he's getting played every single week or not, is down anyway. Times are changing at Manchester United. Marcus Rashford hasn't started for 2 games after scoring a brace and having his best performance in the United shirt that I can remember for at least 6 months now. Ruben Amorim doesn't care. Ineos have got a man that doesn't care. Ineos have got a man that will put people out there in the spotlight for one reason or another, good or bad, and then they will make a decision when the summer comes or a transfer window comes. If it could be next month, they will make a decision on what suits them best. If they are looking at ways to get Manchester United moving forward and they need to make a replacement and haven't got the money, someone has to go. And right now, the obvious is, of course, Marcus Rashford. And I feel like this, I think, is significant in a way just because it's being talked about more now. Just because he is being mentioned in all of these articles and these reports online. It's a problem for him that he can rectify. Show us what you're made of. Show us that you're worth this money. I think this is what this is now. Maybe the club maybe there's a point where the club just actually leak reports out like this to maybe kickstart players, get them going again. I think this is what you need to look at as well in all of this. I feel like Marcus Rashford is... I mean, what is he? I mean, what is his best position for Ruben Amorim right now? I don't know. I don't think Ruben can fit him into his side. And we did do a video the other day about Ruben Amorim compiling this list and a report on every single player at Manchester United, and it's going to be ready by the end of this month. Maybe he's made a decision on Marcus already. Maybe he can't work with him in his system. Look, he hasn't got time to turn this around. Other managers seem like they had all the time in the world, and Marcus Rashford was never brought up. Ruben Amorim's situation is completely different to anybody else's. Ruben Amorim's situation is he's not a manager, he's a coach. He's just another cog in the machine for Ineos, and he needs to perform. He needs to get the results. And if he doesn't, I'm sure that he'll be out the door as well. Nobody is safe at Manchester United, and I think that's what you have to look at in this. That's why this is significant today. Because when you start hearing noises and you start hearing about all of these rumours of possibilities, things being leaked out by Manchester United at the club, someone will deny it, by the way. Someone will come out and say no. But this is to get things moving. This is the start of what is to come. And he has a chance. He has a chance, Marcus Rashford. Everybody knows my opinion of him. And you could easily... forgive me for going right in on this and saying this is the best news ever. Finally, we're going to get rid of him. Well, no, I'll take the approach of let me see what you've got. As Troy Deeney said, show us your cojones. Have you got the balls to stand up and be counted at Manchester United now? Now the chips are down. Now people are talking about you in a negative. Now you've said everything that you possibly could say, apart from doing it through the club and making a big deal out of it. The only thing left for him to do is play ball. Get them results on the pitch. Start performing better. If not, it's quite clear that this is the time now where Ineos would say, sorry, mate. Thank you for your service. We need the money. See you later. You're top of our list. Manchester United, for instance, like we just said there, if they sold Marcus Rashford now for 50 million, so 50 million in, 100% profit, and what's left of his contract after that would equate to around about 45 million in wages that they don't have to pay. That changes everything. If he's gone, and the other five that we were talking about that were going as well, that wage bill has been completely slashed. And then everything that's happened before, and players getting long deals on these new players coming in over the next 5 or 6 years, but nobody over that 200 grand mark of new players coming in, it all starts to balance a little bit better, and then the Ineos cost-cutting project starts to bear its teeth a little bit more. And then further down the line, with Amorim having the funds and the tools at his disposal to go out and get the players that he thinks will fit into his system, and that starts to change things completely, doesn't it? But yes, that is where the situation is right now with Marcus Rashford. He needs to pull his finger out. He needs to actually start performing and save his Manchester United career. It's as simple as that. This is the biggest message ever. This is the biggest message that has come out yet about Marcus Rashford or Manchester United actually making a significant move that has got people on their feet going and talking about it like maybe there are big changes coming up. Maybe this is the time that things do move on. Well, this is coming out. Everybody's talking about it now. Everybody, as I just scroll through social media, is talking about the same thing. The quote from Florian Plettenberg, Marcus Rashford's time at Manchester United could be up. And it could be up as soon as January if Ineos get the right offer in. Who will come in for him? I don't know. That's another point that we've got to make in this. And like I said, they don't rate him right now, I'm guessing. They can't do, otherwise this sort of noises won't be coming out. But what Marcus Rashford is overpaid and is complicated. And do Ineos want this gone? Yes, they do. How much can they get for Marcus Rashford is the question. That's the big thing in this. Who is going to buy him? Who is going to fork out the right amount of money? And who is going to take a chance on Marcus Rashford and the old Rashford? Because watching him now, nobody will want him. United have got a hard sell. And if someone does come in, I think United are going to have to snatch their hands off if they want rid. And I think we have to look at the possibility that Marcus Rashford could be going from anything between 35 and 50 million. That's his market value. That is it. He offers nothing as it stands at the moment. If you're going back and you're looking at Marcus Rashford 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, he may be worth an awful lot more. He's probably upwards towards a £70 million player. But right now, I would say his market value is in between both of them seasons. We've seen glimpses, we've seen moments. I rate him at about 45, 50 million. That's where I see it happening. Winston Green, welcome to the Members Club. That gifted by James. Thank you, James. Adam, he is not good enough, regardless of pulling his finger out or not. He can only do counter-attack football. He's a kick and run player. But this may be proved even more so when he cannot get any better, or he can't, like I say, do any more than what he is already doing. This is what you have to look at right now, and this is maybe how they're looking at it. We're calling it out as to what can you do, Marcus Rashford. Well, maybe the comment section's right. Maybe he can't do anything. Maybe he hasn't got it in him to do any more than what he's already doing. If that's the case, then decisions need to be made by the hierarchy, need to be made by the board at Manchester United. And Marcus Rashford does need to be sold. Because one, he's in the way of other players possibly getting a chance and coming through. And two, he's on too much money and he's hampering the football club in our hour of need, where we actually need money and need to invest in a new coach that Ineos are pushing as the future of this football club. So, really, it is all on him to try and salvage something. But has he got it in him? That's the question. It's been asked now. It's been asked now, though, hasn't it? That's the thing. Bruno is a massive problem. Two, not as big as Rashford. Sorry, I'm going to shut that down, Daniel. He has his moments, but he's so influential. He's at the centre of our erratic performances. Look, yeah, Bruno had a mistake for the goal, but he created 2 goals as well. That's the difference with Bruno. And I think there's work that can be done with Bruno. We're talking about Marcus Rashford here now. And people are actually saying, look, we're not seeing any good in him in the first place to do more. Can Bruno do more? Yes. Yes, he can. He can cut out certain things of his game. But what we're looking at Rashford is, we're looking at him as like, what can he do now? Like, nothing, a lot of people would say. He's maxed out. This is all he is. You could say he can run more. He can put more tackles in. We know he's not going to put his body on the line. He's not got that in him. So what can he do? I honestly don't know. I'm asking the question and I'm putting it out there to him because it's a weird scenario right now, actually talking about Marcus Rashford being sold in January if the right offer comes in. I mean, would a Champions League team take him because he's not played in the Champions League and he's not cup tied? Would PSG come back in for him at the right price in January? There's all sorts of permutations and different scenarios that could happen over the next few weeks. I personally still think it'll be a summer one, but still, the conversation is now being had, and I think it's real. Let's get into the comments and see what you're saying. If we don't think we can get another 10 million out of him before the summer, then just act and get it done. Ashworth style. Are they going to act like they have been acting? Like Rio Ferdinand says last night, the players that have been there too long, get them the F out. Get these shit players out. That's what needs to happen. You can't carry players who don't perform regularly. So that's CG. Luke says, name me a United player who's been allowed to get away with so much without being sold. Not compared to Rashford, no. Adam, he's not a 9 or a 10, and we're not playing wingers. No place for him. Again, good point. Definitely get that one. Hab says, Bruno is your main creator. You saw how poor the team was without him late last year. Not possible to move him on. We don't even need to be talking about Bruno Fernandes right now. We're talking about Rashford. He's the one. I cannot see Ineos wanting to move Bruno Fernandes on. I can see Ineos and the reasons behind moving Marcus Rashford on, though. We desperately need a striker. And if Rashford funds bringing in the right type of striker for Ruben Amorim, I expect Ineos to act on it. I expect Ineos to move mountains to try and make this happen. If they're going to back a manager who clearly is not going to use Marcus Rashford, this is the first time we've seen him not use a particular player in a game and use his normal rotation system. We've all been asking, how long is it going to be before Ruben starts to pick the same players and we start to get a more consistent team lineup? What you've got to look at here is Marcus Rashford now scored 2 goals, but he still wasn't happy. He said it after the Everton game. There are still things that we didn't do right. There are still things that weren't right working. And then he doesn't play Marcus Rashford in the next 2 games. And remember who them next 2 games were. They were 2 massive Premier League games where you'd usually expect your best players to be playing. At least starting one of them, he started none of them. So the warning signs are already there under Ruben Amorim. There's nothing that anybody can say otherwise. The proof is in the pudding and in the eating. The eating is Ruben Amorim not picking Marcus Rashford. That's big. That's big. Rashford needs to go first, followed by a few others as well. That will happen. Ginny says, all big clubs have elite players, but at Man United we have pretended Marcus Rashford is an elite for 9 seasons. Reality is he is just average, just an average player who was good in counter-attacking football. Carvivore says Rashford has no fight in him. He only trained on the track for speed. He did not develop his body to fight on the pitch. He plays scared, not to get himself injured. He is finished. Move on ASAP. Interesting one there on him not bulking up or wanting to fight or change his game up. He is a speed merchant. He has played on that speed throughout his career, and it has most of the time been effective. A lot of the time, he just doesn't know how to use it properly. That's been the problem. Just tuned in. Music to my ears, says Barry. Yes, that is the news going around. If you have just tuned in, Marcus Rashford apparently is up for sale. Florian Plettenberg has tweeted it out. How much of it is true or not, the club could still come out and say this isn't true, obviously, but we know how Ineos are acting right now, and there are serious moves being made behind the scenes. All the fans are calling out for players to be given the same treatment as every other member of staff at Manchester United, and this is where we're at. Marcus Rashford is the biggest name on Manchester United's roster, on our wage bill, and they will save a fortune. Like I just said, if Marcus Rashford was sold, Manchester United, if he was sold, for instance, in January, he made 50 million. You get 50 million into financial fair play, 100% profit, and you save around about 50 million in wages for what's left of his contract, which is around about 14 to 15 million a year, I think, to be exact. So that's saved by Ineos. And if you sell him in January, you have no concerns whatsoever about meeting financial fair play rules come June. And you could make a signing in the January transfer window if you wanted. The problem is, for us, it still has to be the best forward. It has to be the best option for United. I don't know if we could bring in someone else from the academy in. By the best option, I mean, obviously, if there's a player we can get who's better than someone, say for instance, a player in January we could get, but if someone in the summer we could get who's better, I would still buy the player in the summer. So really, Marcus Rashford right now, as much as we want to sell him, and we could, it would probably be for just balancing the books and we wouldn't bring anyone else in. Can we afford to do that? Is he that much of a miss? Is there anyone we can replace him with? I mean, we'll get more fight out of Anthony, I know that. But no, there will be planning. There will be all sorts of talks and communication going on behind the scenes at the club, no doubt. No doubt at all. But still, I feel like this is just big news. This is massive news, in fact. The fact that we're even talking about this right now, because it's been brought out by someone with a decent reputation in Plettenberg, then, yeah, it is. It's massive. It really is. Just to go over what was said again from Florian Plettenberg about Marcus Rashford. If you have just joined us, I'm just going to go over the full tweet again. He has come out today within the last hour and said Manchester United would sell Marcus Rashford at the latest by the summer and would already be open to top offers in the winter. If someone came in January, that is, he would be gone. The club acknowledged his development under Ruben Amorim. Really? but consider him definitely not unsellable. One reason why a sale is being discussed, if he were to leave the club due to the very high salary, it would free up critical points in the complicated financial fair play system, which in turn would give the Red Devils more room to manoeuvre in the transfer market, i.e. free up funds to bring in someone else, a replacement, maybe, don't know. We all know that we want Gyökeres, we want certain players. Ruben Amorim has already said he won't be going to anybody in January at Sporting to take any players away. So we know that that is off. Marcus Rahsford is trending right now on Twitter, as is to everybody is talking about this news that Plettenberg has broke for us today. Keep your comments coming in. I'm going to roll this out a little bit. Super chat in from Ellen. Thank you. Rashford 4 goals, Xerxes 3 goals and 1 assist. Garnacho 3 goals. Rasmus 2 goals. Keep Rasmus and sell the others, or sell them all. I think Garnacho's got 8 goals this season in total, and 4 assists. So I don't know. I think you might have just double checked your stats on that one. But if we're working off stats alone, yeah, Rashford has got more than 4 goals as well. Unless you're talking solely about Premier League goals, which obviously then does equate right. So yeah, I think in terms of Premier League, you may be right with that. But overall, in all competitions, Garnacho's got 8. I think Rashford's got about 6 or 7 goals this season, actually, in all competitions. Even if Rashford scores 20 plus goals in the next few months, I still sell him. It's more than just the money. It's about the culture and the player power at the club. Yeah, I get that. I totally understand that. Clownhoof says, I've doubted this up till now, but do think the approach that Jim Radcliffe is taking will force the powers that be to take more risks. Yep, I agree with that as well. He is cutthroat. Honestly, he does not care. He does not care who you are or what your role is or anything. He's bigger than anybody. Let's not forget how big Sir Jim Radcliffe is, how much money he is worth, what he is worth. He does not care for anybody apart from the people he puts in employment. And if they're not performing at any level, they are gone. And he sees a massive saving right here now in Marcus. And if they balance their books and they looked at what selling Marcus Rashford would do to their accounts, Sir Jim Radcliffe would make that sale. He's just talked about all of the data and what's not right at Manchester United. Giving players too much money, players that are not performing right. Marcus Rashford hits all of the marks when it comes to what Sir Jim Radcliffe has got a problem with at Manchester United right now. Is he going to make the move? Are the club actually going to act on this? Everybody's been calling for it. Keep your comments coming in. I'm just going to run it a little bit longer, everybody, so it's your chance to have your say right now. 138 goals is legend status, says CH. Gold Coast Reds would take Rashford for our reserves down under. Kitty and Leighton. Bruno is the only constant in our team. He is the exact opposite of what a United player should be and is our captain. We are screwed. Completely disagree, David, with that one. Again, not a reason to even bring Bruno into the conversation today. Big Jim is scruffy how he can be a billionaire and look like Boris. A lot of them do that, don't they? My point is really that we support Rasmus, but not Xerxes. Even Xerxes have a better start. Rasmus have even 100 more minutes than Xerxes. I think Xerxes, there's a lot of people just looking at Xerxes as to where he plays. I think that's the problem with him. I don't think he's like not support. Like, we know where he plays. We don't know what position Xerxes fits best in, and we don't know what position Marcus Rashford fits in. Have we got time to counter that? Have we got time to give them a chance to actually find their feet? Well, Ruben Amorim hasn't. He needs to find players that are ready for the position now. So that is what we've got to look at. I think that's the important thing to remember in all of this, that United have not got time, especially Ruben Amorim, our head coach, to make players work. They've been here long enough. If they were working already, then Ruben Amorim might be able to do something. He's tried. He's given everyone a fair crack at the whip. He's given them a chance. But on his time scale, in 2.5 years on his contract, I don't think he can take the risk anymore. He can't. He needs reliability. He will not change his system. He's made that clear. If he's going to stick to his guns and not change his system and his style and what he wants on that pitch, then Rashford does not fit. He doesn't. And his point has been proven by not playing him. He's called him out. He said he needs to be Marcus Rashford. He wants to be Marcus Rashford. He has a lot more to do. Marcus Rashford has problems. We all know this. And Ruben Amorim, I think, has outed them a little bit more on the pitch. In not saying much, in just his actions, in not starting him. I think that's what you have to look at as that's your go-to right there. That's what it is, I feel. Ruben Amorim not starting Marcus Rashford is the biggest thing. And I think as soon as Ineos gets a little bit of a glimpse of Marcus Rashford not being played, so Jim Ratcliffe's going to look at that and go, 350 grand a week sat on the bench, 15 million a year sat on the bench and not performing. That doesn't work in Sir Jim Ratcliffe world. That is a member of his staff out of the door. He won't wait around. You've just seen he's not been happy with what he expected from Dan Ashworth. He expects Marcus Rashford to be performing. He expects the people that are in position to act on what these players are doing. If they don't, then they're out of the door. So the pressure's on everybody right now. And what I meant before about Dan Ashworth going being significant is that he's not doing his job, as in Sir Jim Ratcliffe is not seeing Dan Ashworth do what he thought he would. So Ruben Amorim has been brought in by Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He's met him, we know this. And he expects him to get United playing this attacking, flowing football. If you haven't got the players to do it, he expects Ruben Amorim to then tell the other members of staff in the sporting structure what the problems are, who he's fitting and who he's not, and then he will expect them to do their job on top of that. This is a different Manchester United. It is not the same as what it once was. And the Rashford days and getting away with it and being given a chance because he's Manchester born and bred and all of that crap, they're gone. They're well and truly finished. And I think that's the biggest thing to take from this and the most important thing to take for it. Let's get into a few more. Ruben clearly signed a new contract yesterday. Been at the club since he was 7. Good luck, lad. Oh, didn't know that, mate. Thank you for that update. I think Amorim is going to have to play 3-4-3 transition football to climb the ladder. Look, I think he is willing to take the defeats to play his system. That's the difference with Amorim. He's willing to take the losses to implement what he wants. That's the big thing. I think that's what you have to look at more than anything. He's all too willing and all too happy to take his losses right now just to get better in the long run. And I think that is why the talk of Marcus Rashford leaving is so important and why we need to talk about it a bit more. Ashworth deserves to get sacked. He kept Ten Hag and gave Bruno a pay rise, says David. Is it true linked with Osimhen in January? Leo, yeah, that rumour was there. There is a 62 million buyout in Osimhen's loan deal to Galatasaray from Napoli. So if a club came in with a 62 million bid to Napoli, they would take it because they don't want to deal with Juventus in giving one of their best players to one of their rivals. So Juventus are favourites for Osimhen. They have got their claws into him a little bit. But Napoli don't want to do business with them. So within the loan deal for Galatasaray, they have put a clause in it where if a club comes in with £62 million, then Osimhen can go. If United sold Rashford, they could easily just go out and buy Osimhen. There's a deal that can be got and could be done. That's what you need to look at, I think. If you're looking for anything substantial as to why United would move in January, it could be to get a player like Osimhen in. Like we said, don't forget, like Osimhen, 10 goals in 13 with 5 assists already this season for Galatasaray. Yes, it's the Turkish league, but he is better than anything we have got right now. And if you're looking for an out-and-out number 9 with everything that we need, Osimhen is definitely a player that United could go for. That's up to Bruno, though, isn't it? That is everything. Not up to Bruno, it's up to Ruben, sorry, and what he wants. I'm going to end the video right there. Thank you, everybody. It was a quick fire live show. Somehow still we've done 35 minutes. Wow. I don't know how, but we have. But yes, thank you to all of the mods and members again. I know everybody isn't on their lunch breaks and it's not our normal time, But just wanted to go there because I'm busy this afternoon, so I wanted to get this out there because it is significant, I thought. So please do, if you are catching up, get your comments in below. Let me know what you think. Is this the sign? Is this the time? Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United. Get your comments in below. Let me know what you think, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your day. We'll talk a little bit more about this later on tonight as well, I'm sure. On with the day.